Hare Hare. All right, so we just learned the first two aphorisms of Sri Vedanta Sutra. This is very important. We are in the line of Param Gurudev, who established this Bhakti Vedanta line. Vedanta means, anyone know what Veda means? Veda.
To know.
Veda means knowledge or to know, yes. And Vedanta, Anta means? The end, the conclusion. So Vedanta means the conclusion of the Vedas, or you could say the summum bonum, the final conclusion. You know, if you're going on a journey, then the destination, like the prayojan, the goal, the end point. So that is Vedanta. So Vedanta generally is understood to include all kinds of the Vedic knowledge. They say all the Vedic knowledge is encapsulated within Vedanta. All the different philosophical systems. There are 6 different philosophical systems in Bharat or India. So all of those are present within Vedanta in sutra form, aphorism form. Because in a very short condensed form, everything has been kept there. So it's like a code. It's like a code of all spiritual knowledge present within that Vedanta. So it's also very mysterious, because to understand it, you need to be very realized. And so different schools of thought or sampradayas manifested different commentaries upon the Vedanta Sutra. So we have first, and very famous, is Sankaracharya's Sharirak Bhashya, which is the Mayavadi impersonal commentary. Then Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, they established their commentaries, like the Sri Bhashya by Ramanujacharya, that counter the Mayavad commentary. After that, finally we have Mahaprabhu's conception of Achinta Beda Beda Tattva. Actually, all the different philosophies and core concepts of the different lines of thought in India, the different sampradayas, including the Vaishnava sampradayas, the 4 Vaishnava sampradayas, which also Mahaprabhu is part of, the Madhva Gaudiya sampradaya. Their philosophies are also created on the basis of Vedanta Sutra commentaries. So Mahaprabhu's philosophy is Achinta Beda Beda Tattva, which we know. What does Achinta Beda Beda Tattva mean? Abhiram? Achinta Beda Beda Tattva.
Philosophical truth about
the inconceivable. Oneness and difference. So Achintya means inconceivable, and Bed Abed, difference as well as oneness of the living entity with Bhagavan. Alright? So that's all on the basis of Vedanta Sutra. And it's described that the Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary of the Vedanta Sutra, because the Vedanta Sutra was compiled by Vedvyas after he wrote the 4 Vedas, right? And then after he wrote that, then he himself manifested the Srimad Bhagavatam as the commentary of the Vedanta. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is described to be the natural commentary of the Vedanta Sutra, right? So the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a verse that says, Sarva Vedanta Saram hi Srimad Bhagavatam isyate, tad ras amrita triptasya nanyata syad ruchi kvachit. That the Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all the Vedanta. Sarva Vedanta Saram hi. Srimad Bhagavatam isyate. The Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedanta. And once you taste that nectar of the Bhagavatam, tad rasamrita triptasya, you become completely satisfied. Nanyata syad rati kvachit. Rati means a taste or attachment, and syad means taste. So there's no more attachment or attraction towards any other taste but the Srimad Bhagavatam. Once you taste that Srimad Bhagavatam nectar. So that's why these aphorisms or sutras of Vedanta Sutra are included within Bhagavat Tattva. Now we're learning Bhagavat Tattva. We learned Guru Tattva. We learned Vaishnav Tattva. So now we're learning Bhagavat Tattva. And Bhagavat Tattva is included within Gaudiya Kantahar, right? We're learning the Gaudiya Kantahar. But Bhagavat Tattva is basically meaning the Srimad Bhagavatam, because that is the Amal Paraman for the Vaishnavas. What is the verse that Gurudev said, you must learn this verse if you want to be my disciple? One verse that glorifies the Bhagavatam. Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayastha Dhama Brindavana Ramya Kachi Rupasana Braja Vidu Vagena Yakalpita Shrimad Bhagavatang Pramanang Amalang Prema Pumartam Aham Sri Chaitanya Matamidor Tatradurona Paraha. This is by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And in that he says, this is the essence of the Shrimad Bhagavatam revealed in this verse also. Sri Krishna in Braj, who is Brajendra Nandan Shyam Sundar, he is the topmost worshipful Lord or deity. His own abode, Vrindavan Dham, is similar and similarly worshipful to himself. The best process of worship through love and devotion is that performed by the Brajagopis. The evidence and the topmost evidence of this is the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the opinion of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we give no credence or value to other opinions. So this is also showing. So now we say the Vedanta's essence is, or the purport of the Vedanta Sutra is the Srimad Bhagavatam, correct? The purport of the, how many of you need to take photos of? The purport of Vedanta Sutra is the Srimad Bhagavatam, the natural commentary given by Ved Vyas. That's the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Vedanta means the final conclusion, Anta, the final conclusion of the Vedas, and the purport is Srimad Bhagavatam. So what's the conclusion of the Srimad Bhagavatam? What's the essence of the Srimad Bhagavatam? What's the real Vedanta? We're trying to understand. What's the real Vedanta?
Essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna.
No, Rasa Lila.
Sure.
Okay, Vedanta means the end, the conclusion, everything. And, right, Vedanta means the final conclusion. And the essence or the explanation of the Vedanta is the Bhagavatam. So what's the conclusion of the Bhagavatam? Ras Lila. When Parikshit Maharaj heard the Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days, before he left this world, after he heard the Bhagavatam, then his mother, you can pay attention, otherwise no need. Okay? After Sukadev left, Parikshit was there right before he left, and his mother asked him, there were so many different teachings in the Bhagavatam, what was the most important thing? What is the essence? What is the Vedanta? What is the conclusion? He asked this. His mother Uttara asked him. Do you know what he said?
Not exactly, more or less.
Yeah.
He spoke about this 10.
He said, the essence of everything in the Bhagavatam, you should develop love for Krishna, like the Brajagopis, like your beloved. So that's the essence of everything. And so it said that they were related. Parikshit Maharaj is like the grand-nephew. And his mother is also related to Krishna. So how can he tell that you should become beloved of Krishna? It's very strange. Why should you become the beloved of Krishna? He's saying this is the essence of everything.
What to do?
So this is the point, is that the essence of the Vedanta is the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is the explanation of the Bhagavatam. And the essence of the Bhagavatam is Ras Lila. And what is the point of Ras Lila? How the Atma can come to Krishna and establish this relationship of love in Madhurya Ras. In the Ras Lila in the beginning, Krishna plays on his flute and calls the Jiva to him. The gopis are like the sadhan siddhas, those who achieve perfection through their own sadhan, their own practice, and came to Brajadam. Whether the Rishicharis who were sages before in Dandakaranya, those Murtis of Sita in Ram Lila, those who were the Upanishadchari, Vedachari, Shruticharis, they all came to Braj after achieving perfection in their sadhan. They came to Braj, and then Krishna called them with his flute and performed his sweet loving pastimes with them. And Parikshit Maharaj said, this is the essence of everything. This is the essence of the Bhagavatam. And that's what Mahaprabhu also says, Ramya Kachid Upasana. How should you worship Krishna? As the Ramya Kachids, as the Brajagopis. You should worship Krishna as the Brajagopis. So if you are externally like a man, how are you supposed to worship Krishna in Parakya Ras? That's why we go back to the first sutra. That first we have to understand, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Understand who you are. This is the first lesson. Atato Brahma Jigyasa means now try to understand who you really are. Not only who you are, but what is the nature of the absolute reality? What is the nature of the Supreme Personality? Who am I? And what is everything around me? What is Maya? What is myself? Who am I? What is this called? Basically Sambandha. Who am I? Where am I? Where am I going? Is there a God? Who is God? What is his nature? What is my goal in life? What is the purpose? Therefore, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. You must inquire. Jigyasa means to inquire. And atato means ata ato. It's now, therefore. First, ata means now. You should inquire. When should you inquire? Now. Why? Therefore. So, along with this first word, atato, then there's a Guru Tattva verse we didn't learn yet, but we will learn. Tasmad Gurung Prapaddeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahmana Usapasamashrayam. Jigyasa here is the same word. Okay, Tasmad Gurung Prapaddeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam. So these, when we learn more slokas, you'll see how they intertwine. Okay, Tasmad means therefore. Tasmad means therefore, and atato also means now therefore. Now. You should start now. Why? Tasmad Gurung Prapaddeta. So this is connected. Atato and Tasmad are connected. But Gurung Prapaddeta means if you want to know, Tasmad, if you want to know what is the truth, then you must approach Guru. Gurung Prapaddeta. Prapaddeta means surrender. Surrender to Guru, and what should you inquire? Jigyasu. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Jigyasa means inquire. Alright? And then Shreya Uttamam. Shreya is that word we learned before, remember? Shreya means? The ultimate good, the topmost auspiciousness. So that was in the verse we learned, remember? Nishreya Saya Bhagavan. The sadhus, Maharvichalanam Rinam Grihinam Dina Chetasam Nishreya Saya Bhagavan Kalpatena Nita. They only travel to give the Shreya, the ultimate good. So why do we approach Guru? Shreya Uttamam. Inquire about the Uttam, topmost Shreya, auspiciousness. So why does it say therefore? The word therefore is used because who are those who can approach Krishna and realization of the absolute truth? Those who are described to be akinchana gocharam, materially exhausted. It is said that those who are attached to high birth, education, wealth, opulence, beauty, it's very hard for them to approach Krishna. But Krishna is approachable by those who are materially exhausted, meaning they have developed distaste for living in this world and trying to enjoy in this world. Prabhuji says this is also the goal of our Katyani Vrat. Part of the goal of Katyani Vrat, the first stage to cross over is to become materially exhausted, to feel a taste of bitterness for everything in this world. Everything becomes like shunya, void, without any taste or sweetness, no ras. Then when we give up attachment to jad ras, material sense enjoyment, then we can develop towards spiritual ras. So therefore, atato brahma jigyosa. Therefore it said therefore, atato, and also tasmad. Right? So then it says, Brahma Jigyasa, inquire about the spirit. So ultimately, then we have to try to understand the nature of the soul. That's why it also ties into the next sutra we learned. Janma adasya yataha. Janma adi asya yataha. Janma means? Birth. Janma adi means? And so forth. Janma adi asya yataha. So this means from whom comes birth or creation, adi, and so forth, maintenance, destruction. Okay, who does all the worlds come from? Who does everything come from? That's the inquiry. So then Prabhupada likes to say, whenever Prabhupada talks about these sutras, Prabhupada says, first of all, if you want to know who Krishna is or who the absolute truth is, you have to find someone who knows him. That's why you have to go to Guru. But Jadrisi bhavana jese harimurat dekatin tese. You can go to a Guru, but according to the level of your Guru, they will see God in different ways. And so they will tell you God is like this, God is like that. When Vyasadeva was writing the Bhagavatam, he arranged Ganesh to be his scribe. And he told Ganesh, while I speak, write down everything I say. So Ganesh said, I'll only do it if you don't stop when you're speaking. And he said, okay, but if you don't understand something, you must stop. So they made this compromise. So when Vyasadeva came to the verse, Viranti tat tattva viras tattvam yaj jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. He said that the truth is one, advayam. There's one non-dual absolute truth. But the different sages see him different ways, as Brahma, as impersonal spirit, like everything around us is like spirit, impersonal. Paramatma, the super soul in the heart, and Bhagavan, the supreme personality of Godhead, and his attractive feature is Krishna. So if you approach a guru who has a lower understanding of Krishna, because ultimately Krishna, the non-dual absolute truth is one, and that's Krishna. But it's like, another example is given. If you look at a mountain from a very far distance, then it will appear hazy, like bluish, greenish. You can't see any detail. This is like the Brahman realization. And when you come a little bit closer by train, maybe, then you can see some trees, maybe some waterfalls. But when you actually walk on the mountain, then you can see each blade of grass, each little animal, each cave. So that is Bhagavan realization. But ultimately the mountain is one. You cannot say that the mountain is, when you're far away, the mountain is blurry, and then when you're close, it's a different kind of thing. Mountain is one. So the point now is, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. We want to realize what is the truth. So if we want to realize what is the truth in the highest state, and that's the purpose of Vedanta, because Vedanta means the conclusion. What is the final point? So to understand the truth to the final conclusion, which is Vedanta, then you must approach a guru who is related to Krishna in the highest conclusion, or related to the ultimate reality to the highest extent. That means you must Atato Brahma Jigyasa to really understand. See, Jigyasa means inquire. Inquire means to ask, to find out from someone who knows. Otherwise it would say just do science or something. Jigyasa means you search out and inquire from a self-realized person. So gurus have, if they have different levels of realization, so you should go to a guru who has the topmost realization. And that means someone who is under shelter of Kriya Shakti Srimati Radhika. And also Guru Tattva, who is in this line of Srimati Radhika. Because who knows the husband better than the wife? Who knows Krishna better than his Shakti, his own divine potency, his beloved? Your neighbor may know you to some extent, or someone who knows about basically like human beings. They know about you to some extent. But if you're very, very far away from Krishna, how much do you know about him in truth? So if you really want to know who the absolute reality is, then you have to find someone who is himself very, very dear to Krishna. And ultimately that has to be coming from Srimati Radhika, because otherwise you don't know Krishna. She knows Krishna, the Braja Gopis know Krishna. So you come under shelter of a guru who is related to those Braja Gopis in their same line, then you can know Krishna to the ultimate extent. Then you can come to Vedanta, otherwise you won't understand Vedanta. Prabhuji said, you want to understand Vedanta in Srimad Bhagavatam, come under the shelter of Srimati Radhika by coming under shelter of Guru and Vaishnavas, sadhus, saintly devotees who are in this same line, the parampara, descending, the disciplic succession descending from those who have been blessed by Srimati Radhika with this divine knowledge, those who serve Krishna and Srimati Radhika in the most intimate way. They know Krishna to the full extent. Otherwise, you don't know Krishna. How are you going to find out? You ask from any ordinary person, they don't know who God is. People say in this world, oh, I don't know who is God, I don't believe in God. That's because they have no relationship. If someone has relationship with Krishna, every day is spending all their time with Krishna, then they can tell you about Krishna. Otherwise, how can you approach Vedanta? So, first and foremost, we must take shelter of Guru Tattva, Guru Padashray, take shelter of the feet of Guru, who is himself related to Krishna through Srimati Radhika, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Kevala Madhav Pujai so agyani, Radha anadar koroi sa abhimani. Those who try to worship Krishna directly, without taking shelter of Srimati Radhika, are very ignorant and arrogant. Abhimani. Atapa rohita surai nahi jani, Radha anadita koroi sa abhimani. You cannot see the sun, it's working, you cannot see the sun without taking shelter of the rays of the sun. So you cannot understand Krishna without taking shelter of his rays of mercy, which are the saintly devotees who are under the shelter of Srimati Radhika. They can give you knowledge about Sri Krishna. So this is the basic idea of Atato Brahma Jigyasa. We must take shelter of those people who can reveal who is this Parabrahma Krishna. And next verse, Janma Adiyasya Yata. So there's two conceptions. One is that from whom this world manifests, Krishna, God, the creator, and who is maintaining this world and destroying this world. But this is in relation to this world, it's jagatik, ordinary, worldly. But what about the soul? Who gives birth to the soul, janma, and then who gives development of the soul, adi, birth, growth. So one is like Swarup Siddhi, then Vastu Siddhi. First you achieve knowledge or realization in this world about your spiritual nature and form. That is like Swarup Siddhi. You realize and it becomes perfected internally. And then in your next life, you'll be born in Boma Brindavan, in this earth, but Brindavan manifested on this earth. And then you'll get Vastu Siddhi, which is going to the transcendental world and being born there. So this is Janma Adiyasya. Then once you get your spiritual birth, then you develop your Ekadas Bhavs. This is also in the stage of Swarup Siddhi. Where do I live in the spiritual world? Who is my family members in the spiritual world? Who are my family members? What are my different services in the spiritual world? What are my relationships in the spiritual world? You develop this kind of knowledge. So this is Janma Adiyasya, right? Birth and so forth. Janma means birth. And adi means and so forth. So you can say birth, maintenance, death. This is for this world. Maintenance, creation, destruction. But for the soul, this means birth of the soul. So then we come into this question of why did Parikshit Maharaj tell his mother that the essence of everything is to become the beloved of Krishna? Because externally we have these forms and we're attached to these forms, but we heard the other day, this is anartha. This is Swarup Brahm. I am American, Russian, Chinese, African. This is all Swarup Brahm. It's a mistake. It's illusion. It's a misidentification of the self. This is not who we are. So therefore we think, oh, how can I be Krishna's beloved? Now I'm a man or now I'm a woman. This is not proper. But this is all because of our anarthas. And our anarthas are also because of our attachment, and we want to be separate from Krishna, enjoy separate from Krishna. So we've become covered over by Krishna's desire. We have desired to be separate from Krishna, so Krishna arranges that Maya to fulfill our desire. It's not that Krishna says, okay, you must be covered. We have a desire to be separate, so he says, okay, my Maya will cover you. Then you can imagine that you're separate and you're trying to enjoy, and now like, okay, I'm born in this country and I'm going to try and enjoy in this world. That is Swarup Brahm, Anartha. Right? So then the next stage is, then you understand the real self in one of the different rasas. Means as a servant of Krishna, as a friend of Krishna, as a parent of Krishna, or as a beloved of Krishna. These are the different ways you can have a relationship with Krishna. And Parikshit Maharaj is saying the final conclusion of Vedanta, the conclusion, the top end, the highest point, is that Madhurya Ras, where you can become the Kanta Bhav. In Raya Ramananda Sambad, Mahaprabhu is not happy completely until Raya Ramananda spoke about Kanta Bhav. Kanta Bhav means the mood of a beloved for Krishna, like the Brajagopis had, especially as the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. So that is the real Vedanta. Otherwise, it's not Vedanta. So it is said, Vacha Vibhuti Nato Paramartha. After speaking the first 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami told Parikshit Maharaj, now everything I've told you is a platform, a basis, foundation. But really this is not the essence. Vacha Vibhuti Nato Paramartha. Now I'm going to tell you the Paramartha, the topmost divine truth and wealth. I'm going to reveal that secret to you now. It's like in a book, when you come to the climax, the real essence. Everything was leading up to that point. The Srimad Bhagavatam, everything is leading up to this Kanta Bhav, or the love of the gopis for Krishna. Everything is leading up to that point. And if you take that point out of the Bhagavatam, the whole Bhagavatam has no purpose. Many Puranas were there, many Upanishads were there, many Sastras were there. Without Krishna's pastimes with the gopis and Ras Panchadhyay, Bhagavatam has no point. So Vedanta is the Bhagavatam, but the Bhagavatam is not the Bhagavatam without Ras Leela and Ras Panchadhyay. And what is established in Ras Panchadhyay? The topmost glories of Srimati Radhika. So the topmost position a jiva can obtain is that position of being the maidservant of Srimati Radhika. That is the topmost possible attainment for the jiva. That is called Tat Tat Bhav Ichamai. So what we are trying to do is progress through these stages to obtain the knowledge of who I am, Janma Adasya Yataha, what is my destination, where I belong, what is the purpose of my life. That's very important. So we have a couple minutes left. So I'm going to go back a little bit. We've covered these 2 aphorisms. In the next couple minutes, I'll go back because we didn't finish this topic of the previous verse. And I'm going to tie it together. So we learned this verse. Anarthopasamam shakshad bhakti yoga madoksaje lokasya janato vidvangs chakre satvata sanghitam. And then we learned this next verse yesterday. Yasyang vai shriyamanayam krishne parama purukse bhakti rudpadyate pungsa shoka moha bhaya baha. What is the Srimad Bhagavatam? Srimad Bhagavatam dispels all lamentation, all fear, all illusion, everything. That is the nature of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's this quality, what it results in. And what is it? By hearing the Bhagavatam, yasyam by shruyamanayam, by hearing the Bhagavatam, which is about Krishna Parama Purusha, the Supreme Personality. Then bhakti rudpadyate, bhakti awakens, shoka moha bhayapaha, and lamentation, illusion, fear, everything is destroyed at once. Like when the sun rises, darkness dissipates. If the sun is not there, then darkness is there. If a king is not present, many thieves and dacoits will be powerful. Right? So the same example is that. So yasyam vai shriyamanayam. So that is the Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the best process of Bhakti Yoga for this age. Hearing and chanting and understanding and remembering the teachings of the Srimad Bhagavatam under guidance of our Guru Varga. Therefore we're learning Bhagavat Tattva. So the verse we learned before that. Anarthopasamam shakshad bhakti yoga madoksaje lokasya janato vidvangs chakre satvata sanghitam. The people do not know about this truth. So therefore the sadhus are traveling to help them. Mahadvichalanam Rinam Grihinam Dena Chetasam Nishreyasaya Bhagavan Kalpate Nanyatha Kuchit. Therefore they are traveling to give this knowledge. Only about the topmost good, Shreya. So what is anartha? The verse, I'm going to go back one more step. The verse we learned before that. Tulayama levenapi nasvargam na punarbhavam Bhagavat sangi sangasya martyanam kimutasisa. This also has the word Bhagavat in it. And this is talking about, there's two types of Bhagavat. Dui Bhagavat Bhakta Bharasastra or Bhakti Rasa Patra. The Bhakti Granta, the book, literature about Bhakti Ras, and the vehicle or vessel of the Bhakti Ras Patra, the Bhakta. These are both Bhagavats. So when we say Bhagavat Bhakti Sangasya, it means association with an associate of Krishna, who is a Bhagavat. That cannot be compared to anything else. Cannot be compared to attaining liberation, going to heaven, or Martyanam Kimutasisa. Those things which are meant for people who are going to die. Any kind of material benediction, which is for those who are Martyanam Kimutasisa. Okay, so we have like 4 or 5 minutes left, so we'll tell a short story that ties into this like a bow on the whole package. Martyanam Kimutasisa. What are those things which are meant for people who are going to die? And what is anartha? So we're going to tell a story that ties into anartha and Martyanam Kimutasisa and all of this stuff. Okay, so once there was a sadhu, which is also sadhu tattva. Okay, there was a sadhu who was traveling, short story, and he was going like this, Mahadvichalanam, traveling to help people, to give them the Shreya. So he came to a kingdom and he went to the king's palace and he asked the king's attendant or like the messenger or the minister to have audience with the king. And the messenger went and gave the proposition and came back and said the king has no time. He said, the king has no time? What do you mean the king has no time? So again he went and he asked again a day later. They said, the king said, I have no time, I'm very busy. So he said, what does he want? He said, give him some wealth, give him whatever he wants. He said, no, I only want to speak with the king for a few minutes. He said, I have no time to speak with you, I'm very busy, my kingly duties. So again and again he went. Then he said, okay, give him 1,000 gold coins, just get rid of him. But he said, I won't take any money. So after he came for like 1-2 weeks, then finally he said, okay, let me talk to the queen. So the queen was a little more soft-hearted. She said, okay, I'll speak with him. So then he sat down with the queen. I told her, I have some very bad news for you, but also some good news. What do you want to hear first? She said, okay, tell me the bad news. Give me the bad news first, then the good news. So the bad news is your husband, the king, is going to die very soon. Very soon he's going to die. Okay? And she was very sad. Oh no, what's the good news? He said, the good news is I have something important to tell him. And if he listens to me, it's a way that he can be very happy after his death. So she said, okay, let me go talk to him. So he went and talked to the king. And the king hearing, oh no, I'm going to die, then he became eager to hear from the sadhu. Before that, okay, let's enjoy in this world. But Martyanam Kimutasisa, material benedictions are for those who are meant to die. So therefore, he went to the king and they sat down together. So the king said, okay, now tell me. He said, look, I've done your astrology. I understand your future. And you only have like a few days or maybe a week or 2 left to live. The king was very sad. He said, okay, so what should I do? Tell me the good news. So he said, okay, you've done a lot of punya in your life, a lot of pious activities. So after you die, you're going to go to heaven. That's the good news. You're going to go to heaven. And the king was like, okay, he was a bit relieved. But he said, but however, you've also done some sinful activities in this life, Pop. So in heaven, you've taken tax from many people. The king is always taking taxes. And if he's not spending the taxes properly, then this is disturbing others. So he said, you've done this to many people. So in heaven, as your karma for taking all this tax without properly spending everything, then many mosquitoes will come and bite you. He said, there's not so many mosquitoes in heaven, but for you, a few have been brought. A few are present there for you. So when you're in heaven, some mosquitoes will bite you. They said, don't worry, there's not so many, and we've made a mosquito net for you. They're making a mosquito net in heaven for you. But they don't have good practice making mosquito nets because they don't really need them. There's no mosquitoes in heaven, but for you, there's some mosquitoes. So therefore, they made a mosquito net, but they're not so expert there. So they kept one big hole by accident. There's a big enough hole for some mosquitoes to come through. And when you're going to rest at night with your mosquito net, mosquitoes will find that hole and they'll come through and bite you. So I only came to tell you this point, that when you leave this body, you should take with you a needle and some thread. Because they ran out in heaven. They're not good at this. They don't have practice. Nah? So you should take this needle and thread with you. And when the mosquitoes disturb you, then you can sew this up. And then you'll be okay. So the king is sitting there like he was taking notes the whole time, Okay. He was taking notes. And then we came to this point. He said, needle and thread. Then he was like silent. And then the sadhu finished speaking. He said, okay, you understand? And the king was like, yes. But then the king said, but. How will I take a needle and a thread? How will I take a needle and a thread? And the sadhu said, I don't know. You can figure it out. I told you. I told you so much already. You should be grateful. How do I take a needle and a thread to heaven? Do you know?
Not possible.
There's actually a funny joke, okay? One man, he believed in God and heaven. So before he died, he had 3 close friends, a lawyer, a rabbi, and a priest. And so he told them, when I die and you put me in the coffin, I'm giving you each $10,000. And I want you to put it in the coffin with me so I can use it in the afterlife. He was like Egyptian people. They believe that you can take something with you. All right? So when he died, the friends met together after like a year. And they called each other, I want to meet, And the rabbi and the priest said, I had a bit of a guilty conscience. I was thinking that, this man, we were his close friends and he made us promise to give the money in his coffin. But we know you can't take anything with you after you die. What can you take with you after you die? So I only gave, one said I gave $5,000 in the coffin. I kept 5,000. I gave it to the poor. I gave some charity. Then the rabbi was like, yeah, I have to confess, I also gave a few thousand in the coffin and kept most with me, and I gave it to a synagogue, And then the lawyer was like, oh, you guys, you promised him again and again. You call yourself his friends. It doesn't matter what you think, you've made your word. And they said, the lawyer, you're telling me as a lawyer, you put it all there. You serious? He said, yeah, I wrote a check for the whole amount. I wrote a check for $10,000, put it in the coffin. He can cash the check if he wants to. That's up to him. If he wants, he can go to the bank and cash the check. I kept the 10,000, I gave him a check. Okay, anyway, the point is that how can you take anything with you after you die? So all these things the sadhu then told the king, look, all these activities you're doing, you're acquiring so much wealth, you're fighting and taking over other kingdoms, you're expanding your territory, you're working so hard day and night. But for what? Martyanam kimutasisa, you're going to die. And everything you collect in this world you cannot take even a needle and a thread with you to your next life. You cannot even take a needle and a thread. So why should you work so hard for this? Instead of taking a needle and a thread, you're only taking pap and punya, which makes you continue in the cycle of birth and death in material existence, where you are suffering. Samsara dhavana lalita loka, in the forest fire of material existence. Whether you go up or down, this is like a Ferris wheel, where you go up, and then you come down, and then you go up and you come down. But everyone is suffering to some extent. So you cannot enjoy by that. So all these material benedictions are only for those who are meant for death. Therefore, what did he do? He told him, follow Bhagavad Bhakti. Because only Bhagavad Bhakti can give you transcendental life. And Amrita, transcendental nectar. Amrita means a nectar, but what grants immortality. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, we learned a verse. Remember the verse? Neha bikramo nasasti pradyavayo navidite svalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Even a little bit of the performance of Bhakti Yoga gives you an imperishable result. Akshaya. It's imperishable, it's transcendental. And it frees you from all fear. Therefore, you should follow Bhakti Yoga. Because that can give you immortal life, can help you realize your swarup, your true nature, your true reality. You can go to the spiritual world, you can realize I am the son of God, Amritasya Putra. And you can attain your spiritual form, Janma Adasya Yita. You can realize the self, Atata Brahma Jigyasa. All of that is possible through Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dahan. We should only follow Bhakti Yoga. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Okay, so tomorrow we'll quiz about these verses and about these teachings. Okay? Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.